Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I trust everyone had a joyful and quiet Christmas. Today is Saturday, the 28th of December, and as I'm recording this video, it is snowing outside like crazy. I can't even see on the other side of our gate. It's very gray and snowy, so it's a perfect day to make this video because I just finished my little junk journal junk journal January 2025, and I was putting my things away and I thought, let me make a quick video on my favorite craft tools that I can't live without. So I'll start with my scissors. So my scissors, this is the newest pair I got last year, the Tim Holtz long scissors. I just love them. I use them on everything. I mean, it's fun when you have a long piece of paper to cut. I mean, you don't have to go, it's cutting perfectly straight. And this is my go-to. I use this all the time, and they don't need to be cleaned, even though I do pass alcohol on them to take off some glue that's stuck on my blade. But that's my go-to pair. And of course the little one for the fussy cutting. The reason why I like these, first of all, they're very light and they are plastic, so easy to handle and nice and big for the fussy cutting, and they're very precise. I just love them. So this for me is a must. I mean, any pair of scissors, but once you've been crafting for a long time, you get to choose which you like best. So my number two is definitely glues, and I'll explain why I like these glues. I've been crafting for over 20 years. I've tried all kinds of glues, and my number one glue is the Art Glitter Glue. So I buy the big one now because I don't use the metal tip anymore, because I like to change and put my glue in my precision bottle, and it's very light and it's precise. I just go around my things, especially in journals. It's small, and I just love doing that. My Aqua Liquid Glue, clear glue, is a must for me. This is when I want to do precise work, like cards, for example. On my cards, when I make cards, I've got my base card, then I have a cardstock with color, and then I make my topper. So, of course, everything has to be lined up perfectly. And this, you have wiggle room. It doesn't dry as fast as this. I used to use this and I ruined a few, so I don't anymore. So I got my Tombow Aqua, and since then no more problems. You can move, everything is perfect. So that's my to glue. Of course, for fabric, I use Fabri-Tac when I make my journals. I will glue my fabric right on top of whatever it is. Either it's a cereal box, it's a file folder, brown paper, Amazon packaging. This is what I use, and I have no problems. And of course, the glue stick. This is only when when I make collage. I very seldom use this when I do my master boards or my collage. I will use the glue stick, but once I'm done, I will take a paintbrush with my matte gel medium to cover everything to make sure everything is glued down. So this is it for the glues, and I love them. So these are these are the only glues I use. After that, it's of course paper trimmers. Now, paper trimmer is a touchy subject. If you have to buy one paper trimmer, for me, I've been using this for many years, and this is my recommendation, is the Fisker. Why? Because I've had this for at least, I'd say 10 to 12 years, and it still works like a charm. I love it. and you have the extending arm to it goes all the way to 14 inches. So it's perfect for cutting. The reason why I like this trimmer is because, again, for precision. If you are, let's say you're crafting and you want, because I don't measure anymore, hardly anyway. So like in my junk journal, I will just make little tick marks to where I want to put my pocket or whatever. I just put it in here in the groove, and then you have a metal line here that you line up with your mark, and then you just cut your paper, and that's it. It's perfect. So this is for me the #1 paper trimmer. I also have on my desk, when I'm doing cards, I have the Tim Holtz, this one here as well. This is a guillotine one. The only setback on the Fisker is that you have to change the blade here ever so often. Every time I start a new project, a new journal, I change my blade, because then you will be cutting paper and it will rip your papers. So this is my second one, and I love it for making cards, and that's on my desk right next to me. So when I'm just cutting little pieces, and you've got the ruler right here, and I like the squares, so you just, you know, measure where you want to cut your paper, and it's very, very good as well. To make little squares, it's perfect. So this is my #2, and I have the same one, the deckled edge, but that's not a must. If you have to have one, just have the Fisker. Now, #3, my rulers. I love my Tim Holtz ruler. I wouldn't go without it. Really, because it's the zero center ruler. When you're making a journal, or anything else for that matter, I use this all the time. I mean, I'm practicing on, I had some, you know, you sometimes you just print extra papers, and I made myself a little journal here. I was trying out a different way to tie my journals, and I wanted to see my crocodile to see how big a hole would be, and it's too big. But anyway, so this is why I use my zero center ruler to measure my journals. They're not always the same length, so it's easy to find the center. Like for example, here you've got the 4 1/4 and 4 1/4, so your center is right here. And then for, I always go about 1 1/4 for from the top, and the same way here. So you've always got your placement for your holes perfectly. So that's my go-to ruler all the time. And I have also my deckled edge ruler that I use on my projects. This came with, this is We Are Memory Keepers, and it came in a package of 4 rulers, I think it was, but I only use this one, which is the, you know, when you tear your paper, and you always tear your paper towards yourself, so you have a nice clean edge, deckled edge. So these are my 2 go-to rulers that I use all the time. So now, what else do I have to show you? Oh yes, my Teflon bone folders. When I first started scrapbooking 20 years ago, this was my first bone folder. Nothing wrong with it, except that the glue gets on it, the paint gets on it, it gets dirty, and it's hard to clean. And then you can feel the dirt on it, even though you cleaned it. It never gets back too clean. I mean, it's okay. I mean, nothing wrong with it. I still have it in my caddy here, but I use these. This was a kit that came. I got this a long time ago too. This is the Teflon, and the reason why I like it is because it's light. It doesn't get dirty, or if it does, you just, you know, pass a microfiber with a little bit of soap. It gets back clean. And this I use all the time when I make my journal, or if I'm gluing a big piece of paper, to take the bubbles out of my paper or my fabric when I'm doing the top of my journal. You could use a craft tool, I guess, but see, it's moving everything here. So these are my Teflon bone folders that I use all the time. My little precision bottles I love, like this is gold ink that I've transferred with a pipette from my Kuretake Gold Mica, and this sits on my desk all the time. I just put it on my mixed media mat, and I use my paint brushes to splatter, and these little bottles are perfect. They're really, really good. I forgot for the glues, the glossy accents. This, I've noticed some crafters are using it as glue, but it's very expensive. I wouldn't use it to glue my in my journal. But if you have something to glue that's heavy, like metal, like a butterfly or a junk journal, you want to put a sentiment in a metal thing, this will hold for sure. This is the best glue to hold anything that's heavy on your journals. So this is a must as well. I love it. Besides using it as a glossy accent on my butterfly or flowers. Next thing I want to show you that is a must for me is my acrylic blocks. I use them, of course, for stamping, but also for mixed media. I put my oxide inks here, or my distress inks, and some water. And that's another must for me. Little distress water bottle. And then you just take your paper and you swish on your plate if you don't have a mixed media mat, let's say. And you can ink your papers this way. So I just love this as well. And I have three. It came in a set, and it's Bo Bunny. I've had this again since I've started scrapbooking, so I've had these for years, and very helpful, and I use them all the time. Another thing that I think is very important as for tools is a circle punch. I mean, I have quite a bit. I have almost all the sizes. But if you have to have one size, the 1 inch is versatile. It goes with, you can work with the 1 inch circle. I love circles. So I have circles in my mixed media art. I use it all the time. But like this is very old. These are probably the first one I bought. I can't even tell you what the brand is. It's not even written here. And what happens is I've had others like this one, and the handle breaks when you press down. This one, I'm surprised it didn't break because I use it all the time. But I much prefer the EK Success punches. I really like those compared to these. I don't even know if they sell these anymore. So, yeah, perfect punch. And I have quite a few of the sizes, which I use all the time. So that's for paper punch. Another thing that I like a lot that I use are my little clips. I mean, you're doing a project, you have to glue something together, whether it's fabric or different items on your ephemera. You're doing a tag. These are perfect to hold down your project while you can do something else, and everything is holding down while you're busy doing something else. So these little clips are always, I have lots in my sewing kit, but I only have a few here when I do my crafting project. What else do I have? I wanted to share with you. We went through the crocodile. The crocodile. I have this one, which was my first one, and I've had again for maybe 12 years at least. And the reason I bought it, of course, was for the eyelet setting. I love it. I use it all the time. And what I love is it makes your, for your tag, you have the large hole and you have the small hole. So I use this all the time. And you have, I'm sure you've seen this before, you've got your ruler on the side here, so you can, you know, if you're doing a project where you have to be precise with your holes, they always go at the same place if you, you know, if you want like a line of holes, for example. So this is a must for my tools. I wouldn't be able to craft without this, especially for setting eyelets. I also have the Big Bite, which I use often as well, depending on the project I'm working on. And what's nice about this one is because you can put your project inside. I had, well, I was trying something the other day as I was, because this I write things on here and then I just, you know, tear them and it's just like junk. It's like a little notepad for me. And I was wondering how it would be to make a journal, because a lot of people I notice have a hard time piercing and threading the signature. So for me, when I first started, I just practiced and like this on junk paper, and I kept adding pages to be able to do it straight in the fold. And there's different ways, and all I can say is practice. But I've seen women using this, especially if you have a hard time with your hands, you have arthritis in your hands. This is perfect. I mean, this goes in and it goes in the middle, and then you can go. But the problem is with this one, and then you've got, of course, the small holes and the big holes. So you just have to move your and then you press down here so you have your hole, and it's also an eyelet setter. So if you had to buy only one because they're not cheap, I would say go with this one, because it does the same thing as this, but you have the length if you decide to work in the middle of a page sometimes for whatever, a pocket or making a hole to add a brad to tie a pocket, let's say. So this would be a good buy. The only thing about making holes in your journal, I'm just looking, can you see how big the hole is? But I'm just thinking, if you're planning on making a journal with a ribbon attachment, this would be perfect. So you just have to thread your ribbon and the hole is big enough. If not, if you're using wax thread, the thread is not going to be big enough to hide the hole unless you double your thread every time you make your you sew in the signature. So that's what I think. I'm gonna try and see with a ribbon. I'm gonna try this. I've got something going thinking now. Another thing that I like is my mixed media mat and my glass mat. I use this all the time. It's well loved. I'm very happy I got this a couple years ago, and very, very useful. And I got also the mixed media mat, and it's well loved, as you can see. So this is my, again, my craft tools that I wouldn't be able to work without. Another thing is your cutting boards to go with your craft knife. I mean, you need a cutting board, a cutting mat, I have to say. And I use this all the time. Oh, this one's a bit short. But if I want to cut my papers, let's say, and I have my ruler, and you have to have a metal ruler to do this, because if you have a plastic ruler, it's going to cut into your plastic. And this is my little one that I have on my table to cut things real fast if, you know, if I'm doing something. So this is my little one, and it was when I bought my big one for my sewing on my sewing table for fabric, Olaf, no, it's Olfa, sorry, not Olaf. Olfa, we're giving these when I bought my big one. So I have this next to me all the time. So that's it. And I've got my big one set on my table over here. See if I've got bigger pieces to cut. What else did I want to speak to you about today? Oh, my heat tool. I have one heat tool for my embossing and drying my mixed media art, my paints, whatever, and I have the Sizzix. The only reason why I bought this one is because it was recommended, because it has two settings. You've got high and low. So the low setting is perfect if I'm drying my inks on my mixed media work, and the high setting is for embossing. When I'm doing embossing on my flowers or my dies or whatever. So this is my heat tool, and I love it. I've had it again for a few years, and I wouldn't change it. I just love it. I was thinking of getting the Tim Holtz one, but this is better for me. What else? I had made a list for little things that I want to share with you. Cutting mat, heat tool, circle punch. Oh, last but not least, two things that I wouldn't be able to work without is my stamping platform. I just could not live with this. I use this all the time, especially because I make a lot of cards as well. And it's good for clear stamp and rubber stamp. And this is the Tim Holtz platform, but I think he doesn't make it anymore. But I'm sure other companies use it. So if I'm using the clear stamp, it's so easy and easy to clean. I just put some alcohol on this with a rag, and it cleans every piece of every mark of ink that I have on it. And I bought this mat to hold my papers when I'm it doesn't move at all. And you know, when you're printing your sentiments on this, especially at Christmas or birthdays, you can come back to it. And let's say you're using watercolors, pencil, and you're coloring a flower, and then the darkness of the stamp is not as dark. Then you come back with you leave your stamp on your platform, and you come back and you restamp on your paper, and it works perfectly. I couldn't live without my stamping platform. So I think I went through everything on the must-have craft tools when you're first starting out. And of course, how I could forget, the Poke tool. If you don't have a haul, this is what I use for my junk journals to make my holes. It's perfect. It's worked. I use it all the time. I have no problems with it. So that's it for my tools. And you need tweezers as well. So I've got my reverse tweezers, but right now I can't find them. But I've got these little Tim Holtz tweezers that I got recently. I mean, they were $5.99. I couldn't resist. So when I'm embossing, I'm holding my tag or whatever, and I emboss. And I just bought them because I thought they were so cute, and I couldn't resist them. But everything else, and you don't have to buy everything you see. Start with a few things and build up as you find what you like to make. Also, don't wait to get everything. Start. You hear scissors, paper, glue. You can do anything, especially junk journaling. Papers, just with newspapers, brown paper, wrapping paper, you can start your journal with that. And as you go, you get yourself some stamps, some inks. Of course, it's always nice to start with one or two vintage photo, or my favorite now is walnut stain. It's funny, I have almost all the colors are in my bins, but I used to have I still have the black soot, but it's funny, I don't use it anymore. It's still on my desk. I hardly use it. I like my walnut stain. So if you're gonna get yourself one oxide or ink, get vintage photo because it will go with everything, or walnut stain. And that's it, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this little video. And if I don't see you in another video until the new year, I wish you a safe and creative new year. And thank you, thank you, thank you to all my new subscribers. I'm very, very overwhelmed that I've almost made 1,800 subscribers. So thank you, and I'll see you probably in the new year if I don't decide to make another video. I was thinking of giving you maybe a video on my tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. So maybe that'll be my next video. So let me know in the comments if you would be interested in seeing me making that kind of video. So take care, my friends, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.